What's up, Facebook and YouTube? It's some couple of things I want to address with y'all concerning this Million Man March that I know many of you did not take into consideration. But before I begin, let me say this, that I respect Farrakhan for my own reasons. But the reason why I can't forgive Minister Farrakhan is because his role in Malcolm's death. That's another subject. There's links in the description that'll go through all of that with you. Today, I want to focus mainly on the Million Man March and some things we didn't know about the Million Man March and its agenda. Okay, I'm gonna have to do a couple of videos to address this because I doubt if I can do it all in one. But let me reiterate again that I respect Farrakhan as my elder, a person that came before me and who have been speaking to the people for many, many years, even before I was born. So I respect him for that. But just because I respect a person doesn't mean I have to agree with their full philosophy and become a follower of them. If you ask me, that the problem with the world today is that we got a lot of people following leaders instead of leaders turning their followers into leaders. Okay, that's my philosophy. We all should be leaders. Not gonna talk your ear off here, okay? Let's get into some of this stuff that I got for you concerning Farrakhan. One thing I want to bring out concerning the Million Man March is the fact that people don't realize that the Million Man March would not be possible without a government permit. And if you don't believe me, watch this.
Arrested participants in the noontime sing-along at the state capitol.
The group members were cited for gathering without a permit. NBC 15's Rachel Ballion joins us now with more.
John Lee, policy requires that groups larger than 20 get a permit to gather in the rotunda. That permit requirement is really what all of this confrontation is about. Protesters say the First Amendment is their permit. Police say they have to have one. That got us wondering, how tough is it to get a permit? We decided to apply for one and find out. Step 1, you have to get the permit application. You can find that by going to the Department of Administration's website and clicking on the Capitol Police tab on the left-hand side. Once that page loads, click on the State Facility Use Permit application. It's a one-page form. Fill it out. You'll need your organization's name, your address, the location you want to reserve, and a few other things like whether or not you want equipment. But you won't need anything too specific like a driver's license or social security number. Then you just need to get the forms back to Capitol Police. You can fax, mail, or even hand deliver the forms, but you do need to have the request in at least 72 hours before you want to have your event. The permit itself is free, so there's no cost to apply. The forms say applications are typically processed within 10 business days, but the Department of Administration says most are done before that. In fact, I just filled the forms out today, and in less than 3 hours, I was already granted this permit. We're told permits are granted based on the availability of space. We're also told that requests can be made for multiple dates at a time, so daily events like the sing-along wouldn't have to file these forms every single day.
Something else that we need to think about is that September 10, 2013, 2 million bikers to D.C. on 9/11 response to Million Muslim March. Now, to make a long story short, if you read here, you'll see that the bikers applied for a permit to ride through what is called Memorial Corps near to the Memorial Bridge. The application for the permit said that there would be around 2,000 motorcyclists between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. Carol Johnson, spokesman for the NPS, said the bikers' application was reviewed like all other similar applications. Park Services ultimately denied the permit, saying the group would simply cause too much disruption. Why am I pulling this up? Just to show you that whenever there is a major gathering, you have to have permission. Let's not be fools now. Wake up and free your doggone mind. I'm trying to show y'all something here. These people do not let nobody gather without their permission. You need a permit to do this stuff. So when we talk about the Million Man March, just understand that Farrakhan had to get his permit approved just like anybody else. Now, why am I the only one who see the hypocrisy in all this? So we march up to D.C. to demand justice, but the very people we demanded from was kind enough to grant the permit to allow us to gather with these demands. People, open up your minds and stop being a fool. Now, we do know that this government doesn't allow anything to happen that does not benefit them. So the questions we should be asking is, why would they grant Farrakhan's permission for the Million Man March? Why would they approve his permit? Who benefited from the Million Million Man March. First, let's start by investigating the vendors involved, because you do know that there were vendors, right? Oh yeah, check this out. Now, I put this up just to show you one thing. Read this. Vendors make a killing during Million People March rally. This is something from the Philippines when they had their million people together. Why I pull this up? Because at the Million Man March, you got tons of vendors. Yep, I said it, people. Vendors, okay? Who are there making buku money. And if you don't believe me, read this. Manila, Philippines. Vendors at the Rizal Park in Manila hit the jackpot during the Million People March rally Monday, with some saying they made 5 times the usual amount of sales. Don't y'all think them vendors at the doggone Million Man March are making a killing? Everybody getting paid. And everybody down there talking about we demanding justice. Let's see if we get the justice after this march. All we've been doing for years is putting corns on our feet and making other people rich. I'm trying to wake y'all up. You going out here to the Capitol to demand justice, but you needed a permit to even be there. How hypocritical is that? You're going down here to demand justice, but Farrakhan needed a permit from the government to even have this gathering. So people, free y'all mind. Now let's move on. I got a question for y'all, man. Ain't y'all tired of begging and demanding? In case y'all ain't know, black people spend trillions of dollars every year on bull crap. So what the hell we begging for? All of them people marching up to DC getting corns on their feet begging. Now let's do some math. If 1 million black men put $100 into a pot, we'll have $1 billion, and we wouldn't have to march getting corns on our feet begging nobody for nothing. I mean, let's be serious. Do you really think we gonna get justice as a result of this march? Hell no. The only thing that's gonna happen is that these vendors gonna make millions off of it, as well as C-SPAN and CNN for airing it. Come on, people. Why y'all think they allow it? Everybody benefit from it, but the ones who getting corns on their feet begging. When all of this over, they gonna all have to go back to work and deal with this reality of ours. On the other hand, that $1 billion would help, because if you ain't no money, it's the only thing respected in this nation. And money is a tool of war. Let me say that again. Money is a tool of war. And I don't care who disagree with me, because this the truth, doggone it. And if you can't see that, you got to be a fool. Now, this whole Million Man March propaganda is just to incite tension among the races, because none of these demands are going to be met. So it's all in vain. And you can come up with all the excuses that you want to come up with to make it right. But like I said, if 1 million black men put $100 in a pot, we won't have to beg nobody for nothing. We can have our own justice system and bring forth our own communities, just like you got Koreatown, Chinatown, and the Jewish communities. Okay, so you could disagree with me all you want, but you can't call me a liar. Now, when will y'all learn? Never trust a Negro with a perm. When will y'all learn? Never trust a Negro with a perm. Okay, now let me tell you something, people. Y'all call him Farrakhan. My brother RFG call him Farrakhan. Brother Sanchez call him Permacon. Okay, now check this here out. Now, one of the things that I got against Farrakhan, even though I respect him as my elder, is the fact that I will never forgive him for his role that he played in Malcolm's assassination. Now, part 2 of this video is gonna get into that. So for all the people who's skeptical about his role in Malcolm's assassination, one thing I encourage you to do is get in the description box and look at all them links down there before you make any comments. Now let's move on and let's get into why I say Farrakhan is a snake. He played a role in Malcolm's assassination, and the Nation of Islam is a Shriner organization that is government funded. Okay, you don't have to believe nothing I'm saying. Do your own research. Okay, look at all the power this man got. Every other black leader that had this amount of power was taken out or silenced instantly. Y'all don't got to believe it, but I'm trying to wake you up, people. I do it because I love you. Now, I hope you got the guts to join me in the second part of this. Let's get right into it right now.
There's no organization in this country that could do more for the struggling black man than the black Muslim movement if it wanted to. But it has gotten into the possession of a man who's become senile in his old age and perhaps doesn't realize it. And then he has surrounded himself by his children who are now in power and want nothing but luxury and security and comfort, and will do anything to safeguard their own interests. I feel responsible for having played a major role in developing a criminal organization. It was not a criminal organization at the outstart. It was an organization that had the power, the spiritual power, to reform the criminal. And this is what you have to understand. As long as that strong spiritual power was in the movement, it gave the moral strength to the believer that would enable him to rise above all his negative tendencies. I mentioned the conspiracy between the Muslims and the right wing in this country. I know for a fact that there is a conspiracy between Muslims and the Lincoln Rockwell Nazi and also the Ku Klux Klan. There is a conspiracy.
Describe this conspiracy.
Well, the Ku Klux Klan made a deal, or were trying to make a deal with Elijah Muhammad in 1960 in the home of Malcom X, the minister in Atlanta at that time, who at present is the minister in Philadelphia. They were trying to make a deal with him to make available to Elijah Muhammad a county, a size tract of land in Georgia or South Carolina, where Elijah Muhammad could then induce Negroes to migrate and make it appear that his program of a segregated state or separated state was feasible. And to what extent these negotiations finally developed, I do not know, because I was not involved in them beyond the period of December 1960. But I do know that after that, Jeremiah, who was the minister throughout the South, could roam the entire South and the Klan not bother him in any way, shape, or form, nor would they bother any of the black Muslims from then on, nor would the black Muslims bother the Klan.
Are you inferring then that because of this conspiracy the attempt was made upon your life?
Ask that again.
Are you inferring that because of this conspiracy the attempt was made on your life?
Not necessarily that conspiracy. The attempt was made upon my life because I speak my mind and I know too much, and they know that I will speak it whether they like it or not. Pardon me?
Are you urging your followers to take any actions against the Muslims?
Am I urging my followers to take action against the Muslims? No.
Try to infiltrate the organization and win over some of their supporters?
Am I going to try and infiltrate their organization and win over some of their supporters? No, I have never tried to win supporters from Elijah Muhammad. Since I have left the black Muslim movement, I've spoken at these rallies. Those who come, those who don't. But I've never gone out of my way to win over any of his followers. And he himself is fearful because he knows that you don't have to exercise too much energy to win his followers. As soon as they know truth and compare the two, and by the way, this is the brother, I didn't see you there, brother. This is Leon Amir, who was Cassius Clay's secretary, whom they beat unmercifully up in Boston. And the court freed the men who beat him. They fined him $100, was it? Yeah, $100. Fined him $100. And he was on the inside of the black Muslim specialty squad. And I know it. And it was he who heard Elijah Muhammad Jr. come to New York when Elijah Muhammad was at the Armory in June of last year. Jr. stood up and told the fruit, many of whom are here now also, that I should have been killed, that my tongue should have been put in an envelope and sent back to Chicago by now. And because Fat Joseph had not done it, they demoted him. He remained captain, but Clarence up in Boston was put over Joseph. And Joseph's authority was curtailed. And then Clarence, the captain from Boston, and John, the captain from Springfield, came to New York to assassinate me, and came to him to get a silencer, and couldn't get it. So the police know this. It's not something that's new. They just wait until the job is done, and then they step in.
Do you know that Elijah Muhammad was behind this?
Yes, now, Elijah Muhammad called all of his officials, national officials, to Chicago in October and ordered them to kill or maim any of his followers who leave him to follow me. Well, when you say, how do I know, many of the brothers who were in at that time are out now. And if this ever come into the court, there are plenty of witnesses who can stand up and testify to it. Sir?